This is Jax Hollow, and you are listening to my weekly mixtape with Brian Colburn, and enjoy the show.
Welcome to My Weekly Mixtape, a podcast that takes the classic mixtape approach to building a modern playlist. I'm your host, Brian Colburn. Joining me tonight as guest curator is the amazing blues rock and Americana artist, Jax Hollow. Jax, thank you so much for joining me on My Weekly Mixtape.
For sure, man. Glad to be here.
Glad to have you. And I'd like to start by asking you the same question I ask all of my first-time guests. What does the word mixtape mean to you?
Shit. Mixtape is when you burn a bunch of songs onto a CD for your significant other to never listen to.
I will say I have made many of those CDs for people, including my wife now. And we have had conversations where a song will come on and I'll be like, do you remember when I put that on that mix CD for you? And she said, I've never heard this song before in my life.
Nope. And you spend so much time being like, yes, this perfectly explains how I feel. This person will definitely understand.
Tonight, we're going to be co-curating a mixtape that hopefully people will listen to, and it's going to be filled with modern blues rock tunes. And I'd like to start by asking you, how would you describe the state of blues rock music in 2024?
It's more than Joe Bonamassa. Just want to say that. It's kind of cool. There's actually a cool scene happening in Nashville on its own for blues rock as well. And I feel like we get more and more bands coming in that are more affiliated with the old school ways of the guitar and rock. And there's some cool bands that have made it semi-big that are pretty interesting. But yeah, it's a cool state. It's definitely not big in the media and in your face and flashy, some of it, but it's there and it's definitely got a presence and people show up to shows. So
that's what it's all about. Well, let's get down to business. Tonight, as I mentioned, Jax and I will be curating the ultimate modern blues rock mixtape, and we'll use the old cassette deck approach. Jax, as my special guest, will begin side A with her first song choice, and then I'll add a song that I feel best follows up that choice. We'll then flip-flop choosing songs until we've mapped out 10 songs for side A. We'll then give our mixtape a proverbial flip, and we'll map out side B, only this time I'll kick things off with Jax choosing second. Our overall goal for this episode is to craft the best modern blues rock mixtape possible through only 20 songs. And at the end of the show, you could take our conversation to the next level by visiting the episode page at myweeklymixtape.com to give our final mixtape a listen via the embedded playlist. And if you like what you're hearing on the show, you can help me out by either telling a friend, leaving the show a 5-star review wherever you're tuning in, or becoming a Patreon mixtaper at patreon.com/myweeklymixtape. And a few of the Patreon mixtapers chimed in with songs that they would use to kick off our modern blues rock mixtape, and I want to give a quick shout out to them. Starting off with brand new Patreon mixtaper Chad Lamassa, who chimed in with Emily Wolf's Walk in My Shoes. Chad, welcome to the Mixtaper family. Stoked to have you on board and looking forward to talking music with you in the forum. Jason Donchis chimed in with both the Steepwater Band's Please a Believer and Band of Heathens' Medicine Man. And Seeker chimed in with the Sheepdogs' Who. So, Jax, with that musical food for thought out in the atmosphere, I'm officially pressing the record button on our mixtape, and the floor is yours. Why don't you dive into the song you chose to kick off side A?
Hell yeah. Man, that's cool. Your listeners are digging deep, and that's awesome. Glad to hear. I would do Electric Man by Rival Sons.
Ooh.
That song kicks ass. It's hot. That's one of those songs you want to make out to.
Hell
you know?
Yeah.
It's a good one.
Rival Sons, I saw them with STP back in 2019. And I'll tell you what, seeing them live for the first time, like I've heard the albums, I know the songs, but seeing them bring that energy to the stage is so infectious. And that riff is so like the words Electric Man, as soon as that riff starts, you almost feel it in the tone of the guitar. There's a certain tinge that he leads in the opening guitar of that song, where when you hear Electric Man, it almost sounds like a static on top of the distortion. It's a really cool technique that they did with that one.
You know, I'll tell you what, Rival Sons, I saw them at the Ryman, and the thing is that they've got great songs. They actually have a new record out, Dark Fighter, but they are just one of those bands that they're amazing live. Like that dude can sing his ass off. He is a monster vocalist. One of my favorite ones I've ever seen live. Like he will chop you down and like not even look at you. You know, they are one to see live more than to listen to as well. You know, one of those bands. Yeah.
Well, I'm going to lean onto that guitar tone that we talked about for Rival Sons. And I think what I'm going to follow that up with is a riff that I can only describe by taking two parts of Jimi Hendrix and his impact on the blues, adding in 1 cup of Rage Against the Machine's intensity, throwing it into a blender, and getting the dirty riff from When My Train Pulls In by Gary Clark Jr. This is the kind of riff that would have made Jimi Hendrix smile, because the groove that these guys lock into is very reminiscent of what I loved so much about the Experience. There's just a vibe going on, and the guitar solo in it is just obnoxious, absolute fire. This song is 7+ minutes long, and the music video is 7+ minutes long, which speaks volumes, because there's really no part of this song that you could cut to make a radio edit without taking away from the core of the song. And the entire Black and Blue album from 2012 is a monster, with songs like Numb, Bright Lights, and that mashup of, once again, Jimi Hendrix's Third Stone from the Sun and Little Johnny Taylor's If You Love Me Like You Say. The album is just incredible. And I think following up Rival Sons, this kind of keeps that intensity going. So Gary Clark Jr.'s When My Train Pulls In.
Yeah, dude, he's a monster. Good shit, man. I would say some like kind of local monsters. Some of my friends are in this band called Goodbye June.
Yes.
And shout out to my buddy Tyler. I would do Goodbye June 3 chords.
Nice.
Which has that bite. After Your Song, it's got that bite, but it's also really focused on lyrics. And it's about chasing the dream and not being afraid to do so.
Love Goodbye June. That's awesome, because they're a group that, in my mind, is on the up and up right now. They're a group that you want more people to know about. And obviously, Rival Sons and Gary Clark Jr. are almost, I don't want to say at the top of the mountain, but they're getting there. People know who they are. And there's bands like Goodbye June that more people need to know about, because there's so much friggin' talent there. It's just ridiculous.
Again, live is gonna, because I saw them at this Gibson Garage event, and I mean, I hadn't actually seen them live. And when I saw them at that, I was like, come on. Again, they're one you got to see live. You know, they got great songs, but people don't understand, man. Yeah, got to see my boys live. They kill it. They got new stuff coming out too. I got to listen in on some of their new stuff. It's good. Yeah.
Well, following that up, I think I'm going to dive into the lyrical aspect of what you were talking about and kind of piggyback off of that. And I'm going to go back to 2012. 2012 was an amazing year for blues rock, in my opinion. And people might remember this next artist from her late 90s hit, LA Song, Out of This Town, which was an adult contemporary hit. However, since 1999, Beth Hart has pivoted into a more blues rock base, working with Joe Bonamassa on the 2011 Don't Explain album, which was the first of several that they did together, but then going off on her own and creating the amazing Bang Bang Boom Boom, which came out in 2012 and reached number 3 on the Billboard Blues album charts, which is one of her biggest to date. And the song I'm going to go with is the 7+ minute again. I don't know what it is. I'm picking long songs tonight so far, but Caught in the Rain. This song just ping pongs from sexy to this monster scream that Beth has. It's just so sultry and powerful. And to go from this soft and emotive delivery to this heft that just demands your attention, its song is just oozing with dynamics. And to put that into perspective for people who don't know who Beth Hart is, her latest album is 2022's A Tribute to Led Zeppelin that features, well, you guessed it, nothing but Zeppelin covers. And she friggin' kills it. So Beth Hart, Caught Out in the Rain.
Hell yeah, dude. Her vocals are, yeah, like you said, dynamics. Dynamics are really important to me. I don't know. I hope that they are for other people, but dynamics is where all the feel is. So especially when you're paying for a ticket to see an artist live, that's where a lot of the magic happens, is the control of dynamics. And when you want to talk about control with vocal control, you got a lot of power when you bring it down like that. And then you just like dig in the way she does. She's something. So we're going to go off on rock chicks. I definitely got to give a shout out to my girl, Jackie Benson. I don't know if you know her. She is a killer guitarist and a great singer. She's an artist as well. I'm going to choose Rolling On by Jackie Benson. She's also got this really cool personality on stage and facial expressions. I'm a fan of it. She does them well. So shout out to Jackie. She's awesome.
Yeah, this is that old school, when you mentioned the facial expressions, watching videos of her, I'm reminded of B.B. King, as if the guitar is kind of an extension of who she is as a person. The way B.B. played that guitar, you felt like Lucille was one with him, if that doesn't sound too high and religious there, but I think you get what I'm saying.
Hell yeah.
Awesome track. And I think following it up, I'm going to go with somebody who's been on the scene for a very, very, very long time. Because in the 70s and 80s, he performed in both Canned Heat and John Mayall and the Blues Breakers before launching an amazingly successful blues rock career that is pretty much worldwide. And I'm going to go with Walter Trout's Wanna Dance from 2020's Ordinary Madness. This song has this kind of Neil Young and Crazy Horse vibe woven into a groove that kind of brings that rock side more to the blues rock table, so to speak. I discovered Walter Trout 20-something years back on a website called mp3.com. And they used to have charts, and Looking for the Promised Land was high up on the blues charts. And I checked it out. And as soon as I heard his riff, I was immediately hooked. He's actually releasing a new album in March called Broken. So be on the lookout for that one, because the pre-release singles I've heard thus far, it's probably going to be another monster album. So I pretty much own his entire discography, and there's not a single album he's put out that I personally can't listen to start to finish. But Wanna Dance has a really unique vibe that I think brings a different dynamic to the songs we've been talking about tonight. So I thought that'd be kind of cool for the next spot.
Cool. So he played with Canned Heat in the 80s, it looks like. I'm just kind of reading here. All right, cool. Dude, I fucking playing that rock cruise, and Canned Heat is on the bill. I'm like, that's man. Really cool. Damn, I'm excited about that. Yeah, I gotta check him out. I can't say I checked out that album. I have to look that up. Yeah, for sure. Let's see. I do. Oh man. I mean, I'm gonna say, since I don't know him, I'm gonna pull one out here. We'll do Ain't None Watered Down by Tyler Bryant and the Shakedown.
Ooh, yeah.
Yes, badass.
Awesome song. And believe it or not, I mentioned that Rival Sons Stone Temple Pilots tour that I saw back in 2019. Tyler Bryant and the Shakedown opened that show. So that was a ridiculous triple bill right there.
Bam. Mm-hmm.
Well, I think to follow that up, I'm going to go with an album that was one of my absolute favorites in 2022. And this song has a vibe similar to When My Train Comes In by Gary Clark Jr., because it's just another dirty riff. And it's by Rebecca and Megan Lavelle, otherwise known as Larkin Poe, the sister duo that's been making insane music since 2010. Each album just keeps getting better and better. Along with Marcus King's Youngblood, Blood Harmony was easily a top 2022 album for me. And in a similar nod to a lot of the groups and artists we've been talking about so far tonight, they're taking blues rock in a different direction. And I love the slide work that they're bringing into it, because the slide guitar over the nasty riff really creates a unique dynamic. Normally it's just shredding over a nasty riff, and this kind of has this smooth and sliding guitar, but you never lose an ounce of heft to the song. So let's go with Larkin Poe, Bad Spell.
What's funny is I didn't know their names, so I was like, who is that? And I'm like, what? Oh, yeah, they're making awesome waves, especially over in Europe. And I was playing some shows in Europe, and almost at every one of my shows was a guy wearing Larkin Poe t-shirt. Yeah.
Wow.
Awesome. And they always want to tell me about how they saw them. So they are having lasting effects especially overseas, yeah, those girls are awesome. My turn then. Well, shoot. Then let's go like way back in time to the mother of blues rock, or the mother of kind of blues, but she's got that grit to her. I'm going to go back to this woman named Sister Rosetta Tharpe, who I've seen a couple videos on YouTube. She is awesome. I'd say that one where she's saying the "Didn't it rain?" That's probably the name of the song.
Didn't it rain? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. No, blues is pretty simple. If there's not simple enough, then you're not doing it right. Yeah. But just the tenacity and the performance and the confidence and the facial expressions. She's got it all. And she was way before her time. She killed it. Yeah, she's cool.
She is unbelievable. Obviously in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame for a reason, because she was a game changer.
Well, that's awesome. When did she get like inducted in the Hall of Fame?
In 2018, because Brittany Howard from Alabama Shakes inducted her.
That's right. My girl. Oh, that makes me so happy that she's the one who did that. That's awesome. Yeah.
Well, speaking about Alabama Shakes.
Yeah.
To close out side A, I think I'm going to go down that road and go with their track Always All Right from the Silver Linings Playbook soundtrack, but also added to the deluxe edition of their Boys and Girls album. It has been one of my favorites since I first heard. I mean, Hold On was the song that introduced me to the Alabama Shakes, but when I heard Always All Right, it made me just fall in love with the band. And I think that song just has a perfect ending to this pretty eclectic side that we've put together. There's a groove to it. There's a down and dirty nastiness to it. And I mean, Brittany Howard's just on another level. So I think it's a perfect way to close out the side.
Definitely. I love that song. Ugh.
Well, there you have it, folks. Side A of our modern blues rock mixtape, which consists of Rival Sons' Electric Man, Gary Clark Jr.'s When My Train Pulls In, Goodbye June's Three Chords, Beth Hart's Caught Out in the Rain, Jackie Venson's Rollin' On, Walter Trout's Wanna Dance, Tyler Brandt and the Shakedowns' Ain't None Watered Down, Larkin Poe's Bad Spell, Sister Rosetta Tharpe's Didn't It Rain, and Alabama Shakes' Always All Right. Head over to myweeklymixtape.com to hear all the songs we've discussed in this mix through the playlist embedded on the episode page. Now, Jax, in 2023, you released your debut full-length album, Only the Wild Ones, which I was introduced to, thankfully, by Patreon mixtaper Jason Donchis, and I was immediately hypnotized by the opening guitar riff to Wolf in Sheepskin. And when you talked about dynamics, when we were talking about Beth Hart, the first time I hear you belt out, "But I'm better sleeping alone," I was just hooked.
But I'm better sleeping alone. Sleeping
Only the Wild Ones is very much a blues rock album, but also very much an Americana album and very much a rock album. Obviously, you could have leaned into any one of those directions for the entirety of the album, but you found the way to strike a perfect balance between the three. Was that your intention when you were writing the songs for this record?
Well, shoot. Well, thanks for listening to it. Yeah, the Wolf and Sheepskin is definitely still one of my favorites to play too. Of course, I've extended the intro like any guitarist would. But yeah, man, I just, it's kind of one of the downfalls is I don't have a vision until it sort of starts building on top of itself, and then it kind of reveals itself to me in a very, I don't know, Rick Rubin way. I don't really touch it until it needs to be touched, and I don't know how else to describe it, but just songs that I really enjoyed writing, and they all have their own vibe to them. I mean, Ventriloquist is like jazz.
Watch him move on me. He got that voodoo, baby. Just a spark of magic on the rabbit in his hat. Now, baby, on the streets of New Orleans, all I want is his hands on me. So make your
And Ethereal Emerald is this crazy thing that changes feel a million times with a ripping guitar solo, and Wolf and Sheepskin is got a Hendrixy intro, and Wallflower Girl is like a super Americana song. There's even a banjo in it, actually.
wallflower girl in blue, wrapped in the scenery, a beautiful mind, watching intently each passerby. Quiet on set, she's starting act 2. It's time to tear down their notions and
I don't know. I just all over the place. Dude, I'm just all over the place. I just be making music. We'll just see what happens. We throw paint at the wall. We just throw paint at the wall here. That's me. So. But thank you, though.
Well, you brought up Ethereal Emerald. This song has this kind of like breezy energy to it musically, but then you talked about that guitar solo and it's friggin' stunning. I have to kind of put my New Jersey hat on here for a second and say, to me, this feels like a song that I would put the top down on a convertible and drive down the shore, and that is To the Beach for anybody who's not from New Jersey. I kind of want to talk about this solo for a minute because listening to the album, it feels like you're using a wah pedal over this fast solo, but you're using the wah slowly as the solo is unfolding. Good God, that solo rips. Can you talk about how that whole slow burn wah effect came into play here?
I know something insane is I was in the other room, the control room, tracking the solo. I had no pedals by my feet. I had these two amazing guys that were doing guitar tech for me on the record. They were in Studio B in there operating the wah, which was hilarious, man. My buddy Michael Vance and Eddie Haddad, shout out to them. Those guys are killer guitarists, and they were pressing buttons and doing all the things that I just did not have the experience or knowledge doing, and they were in that other room. Who even knows what they were pressing? But it sounds amazing. I was just in the control room just like playing it. Yeah.
The dynamics on it are ridiculous. And the next track I'd like to touch on is another one of my favorites from the album, Running Like a Gypsy.
she running like a gypsy. She running like a gypsy. She running like a gypsy all the way to my fantasy. She running
song is such a killer blend of, I almost want to say bluegrass, Americana, blues rock, and yeah, I'll say it, metal. Because the banjo that Tim Halloway adds to the track takes this song that is really fast and in your face and high energy, but it adds this dynamic to it where you're kind of listening to the instruments separation, and it adds layers and depth to this song. And hearing a song like this makes me wonder, when you perform this live, you tour with your band as well as playing solo shows. When you're writing, do you write with that in mind? Meaning like, how's this going to translate to when I'm up there by myself versus when I've got the band with me?
I'm pretty much just a masochist. I make it everything really hard for myself, no matter where I am. No, Running Like a Gypsy is definitely a song I would not perform solo. It's funny is people will request Ethereal Emerald and I can get away with it solo, which is wild. But Running Like a Gypsy, it doesn't translate without that driving force, which, is a full band. Yeah, for the new record I've been working on, they come out the way they come out, man. That's just so funny about it. Is like I really don't have much control. Like sometimes things demand a full band, sometimes things don't. But at the end of the day, a song is just melody, harmonic structure, and rhythm. And if you can't recreate that with you and a chordal instrument, then you don't really have a cohesive song, or a song that probably people want to listen to for that matter. I don't know. I mean, that's debatable, but I always am a firm believer in you be able to strip it down and be able to perform it, which I basically broke my own rule because I can't do Run Like a Gypsy solo unless I really wanted to, but nobody really wants to hear that. So,
well, it is kind of one of my favorites from the album, so I'd be lying if I said that I didn't want to hear it.
I get away with it, but yeah, no one's going to want it.
Well, along with Only the Wild Ones, in 2021, you released an EP called Underdog Anthems, which features the killer opener, High Class Bitch. I love the swagger you bring to this track, and the rest of the EP is incredible as well, but sadly at this point the album is only available digitally, and I guess I missed the chance of getting a physical copy. Is there any chance there'll be a repress of it?
Yeah, we're sold out of those. I think there's probably one hanging around in my storage locker, but that's it. I'm never going to actually do any more physical things of that. And there's like a special thing where the first 50 people, the people who've been from the beginning with me when I worked with Michael Wagner, they've got the 51st signed copies with me and his signature on them. And I think those are kind of special because they're just out there and I'm never going to make any more. So, and they actually had 2 additional tracks that I took off online. So, I know. What an artist! No,
you're killing the CD collector in me because now I got to try to track down that one copy.
Well, they're probably
it's now a mission.
I don't think that they've grown in value, so you can probably get your hands on them. Yeah, but yeah, man, Underdog Anthems was so fun. Working with Michael Wagner was such an honor and a treat, and I'm so happy to have had that experience and kind of make a small mark, in the rock community for sure, especially since he just retired. So it's like, finally got my little foot in the door and got it in, So I feel blessed for that opportunity. That was a fun record for sure.
Well, before we move on to side B of our modern blues rock playlist, this past July, you had a very unique invite to play at an extremely iconic venue that we talked about before. And I heard you talk about it on fellow Pantheon Podcast Network mates, All Things Blues and Southern Rock show. And I doubt I'm going on some huge limb here because I think it's pretty safe to say this venue would be on every singer-songwriter's list on the planet. And I, as well as the My Weekly Mixtape listeners, I am sure would love to hear about this opportunity and how it all came to fruition.
Just wild, man. It still feels like it didn't happen. Best day of my life, for sure. it's possible, ladies and gentlemen. It is possible to be an independent artist and have no experience and, flop around and figure out and have a gatekeeper, give you a chance, which is basically what that was. That was me on Twitter. I don't even want Twitter, X, whatever the hell, And I got the social media thing. I only got it because I was sort of like forced into getting it as a social media platform. And I had 100 followers. And Melissa Etheridge messaged me, DM me on Twitter. And I'm like, what? It's a joke. Like, who is this?
You can never be too sure it's some fake account that has a Q in the word Etheridge.
Like, who is this really? She was just like, hey, I really like what you're doing. And I want to say, keep it up. And if you're ever in California, let me know. And I was like, I can be there tomorrow. And then I probably texted her back a little too much. I think I got annoying. And then she kind of let me be for a while, which understandable. And then we got an official offer from her team, and they were like, would Jax Hollow be interested in opening for Melissa Etheridge at the Ryman? And this is way, way back. I had to hold on to this secret for 3 months while I was playing dad rock on a cruise ship in the middle of the ocean. And it changed my life. I still can't believe it. It was so insane and so amazing. And my family was there. They flew in from Massachusetts to see me. I had all my friends. I had anything you could need. And I practiced the shit out of anything I could think of so that when it came down to that day, my little 30 minutes on stage at the Ryman, solo, I could take it all in as it was happening. And boy, did I. I just soaked up every second I could on that stage. Man, for all the dreamers out there who want to be able to have their music resonate those wooden pews, there is nothing like it. The sound that you get. I mean, my pedal board, I have this Strymon pedal, the Cloudburst, and I didn't even know about the low frequencies that it could even produce, because I've never been in a situation where I'm in a room like that, and the low frequencies of the Cloudburst pedal just engulf the entire during sound check. I mean, there's pictures that actually my photographer took of me sound checking, and just my face is just half crying, half I couldn't believe it. It was something else. And Melissa Etheridge was watching my sound check. It's the craziest moment. It was just like in a movie. She was watching me on the side, and someone tapped me on the shoulder, and I'm kind of like, go away. This is my moment. I am sound checking at the Ryman. It's Melissa Etheridge. That's when I first met her in person. She tapped me on the shoulder because she was watching my sound check at the Ryman. It was just me, production manager, my mom sitting in the pews watching me sound check, and then Melissa Etheridge on the Ryman stage, just insane. It is insane. It is, yeah, so lucky.
That's absolutely amazing. I can't, as a musician myself, having played venues that I feel I didn't deserve to personally play at, walking out on that stage, it's this rush that I cannot explain to another human being. It was adrenaline mixed with gratefulness, mixed with horror, mixed with fear, mixed with everything you could think of. And it was an emotion that has no name. And I'm guessing what you went through was that times 1,000.
Yeah, I feel like at some point so I received a standing ovation, and the pews started to rumble, and I was like, what is it's just an unknown sound to my ears. And when I finally realized what was happening, and they were still clapping, and they were knocking on the pews and with their feet, and I fell to my knees and just I don't know what happened. I think I kind of blacked out, honestly. I was still conscious. I was just on my knees and just taking it in, and then eventually my friend Chris Rambo eventually ushered me off the stage. She's like, you got to go. You're over time, we're not going to go over time opening for Melissa Etheridge. We're not going to go over time. You got to go. He's trying to get me off stage. And I was like, you know, you can ask my little brother, you can ask my friends, anyone. As soon as I got backstage, I just like went on the ground and I was like, everyone's like, blah, 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 blah. And I'm just like, you're talking, nothing's coming through the ear. I don't know. It was so cool and so hard to describe. And I wish that opportunity on so many of my friend musicians who are working just as hard as me and deserve a shot like that. So thank you, Melissa Etheridge.
Well, look, I think judging by the songs on your EP and this album, I think there's going to be a day where you're going to be giving that opportunity to an up-and-coming artist as well.
I would love to do that.
There's some magic behind these albums. And to kick off side B, I'm actually, because if you remember, I played a clip from Wolf in Sheepskin before, but I didn't talk about the song. And that was on purpose because this is the song I want to use to kick off side B. I am a huge fan of album opening tracks. And like I talked about, the beginning guitar on this, it just kind of lures you in and kind of invites you into the song. And by the time you get to that hook and you kick in, I'm all in on it. And I think it's the perfect way to start off side B. But instead of me talking about why I like the song, I'd rather spend this time hearing your story behind the song.
Good thing, man. Wolf in Sheepskin is about being pretty reckless and pursuing the dream regardless of the consequences, right? A lot of us who are out here and trying to be independent artists, singer-songwriters, musicians, just doing this thing that's totally crazy to do, you know, kind of outside of the normal norm of life, you know, where we're sort of like a lot of us are very introspective and the observing type as well as crazy rock stars. And yeah, Wolf in Sheepskin is about, I wanted the intro to sound like waking up the day after a huge performance. And, you know, I mean, the character is waking up alone or sleeping in their car, you know, and the verses are in like this odd time signature, and they're kind of like, they pull you and push you and make you a little uncomfortable. You know, the character is grappling with, you know, their hangover or something, and then it switches over to like a steady 4/4 time, and the chorus comes in. And yeah, I don't know, I just wanted to create that release and the strange numbness of totally not being okay, but also beautifully content with, not saying the character's suicidal, but there is the line about like sunrise waking up with my 45, state lines double crossed like a Valentine. You know, it's like
Yes.
There's something going on. There's something going on there, and I think a lot of people can relate, especially nowadays because it's hectic out there. It's crazy. It's just insane. And yeah, that's it.
Well, it's an amazing track. And now you get to follow, what would be a song that you would follow up your own Wolf in Sheepskin with?
Ooh, that's a good question. Man, okay, so this is my favorite new song off the Dirty Honey record. It's really good. It's got this biting vocal delivery. It's really good. It's called Coming Home. You can hear the desperation in his voice, and I think it's got a different vibe than Wolf in Sheepskin, but it's still a very personal and biting kind of numbness, but in a different way. And it's a new song, so I think it's cool.
Dirty Honey is one of those bands that the first time I heard it, I always say to myself, how wrong was Gene Simmons when he said rock and roll was dead? Because these guys, the Rival Sons, Dirty Honey, there is a new crop of rock music that is just, it's got elements of the 70s, but it feels so fresh and modern. And it shows that there's such a bright future for rock. He couldn't have been more wrong as far as I'm concerned.
And I've got a huge crush on the lead singer, so there's that too.
Well, following that up, I'm going to lean into the rock a little bit, but I'm going to bring it to a blues guitarist that I've been following for the better part of 30 years. And this past year on episode 45, I was lucky enough to have him on the show to talk about a lot of his classics, including this one. And that would be Kenny Wayne Shepherd from 2017's Lay It On Down. I want to go with Baby Got Gone. This song, I felt like Kenny had sang songs before on other albums, but this one was the first one where as soon as I heard his voice, I said to myself, there was no other person that should be singing this, because they always go back and forth between Kenny and Noah over what songs are sung, and Baby Got Gone has KWS written all over it. But instead of me talking about it, when you're done with this episode, go back and check out episode 45, because he talks about the song a lot better than I ever could. So Kenny Wayne Shepherd, Baby Got Gone.
Hell yeah. Well, I'm going to follow that up with the one and only Marcus King.
Oh, yes.
I'm not sure which one I want, man. I don't know. Which one would you do?
Well, considering I had Blues Worse Than I Ever Had in my bank from his 2022 album Youngblood, I'll go with that one.
Man, I can't decide. Damn, man. Shoot. Having a hard time. How about The Well?
The Well off El Dorado? Hell yeah,
Yeah.
let's go with that one.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't go wrong with Marcus King.
Marcus King, man. Damn.
He is just on another level. For those of you that don't know who he is, please fix that. If you're a fan of the Allman Brothers and that blues-based style of Southern rock, Marcus King is right up your alley. He's toured with Tedeschi Trucks. And if you're a country fan, his name will probably sound familiar because on Zac Brown Band's 2021 album, The Comeback, he guested on the amazing Southern Pride. This guy's just, I mean, he's the future of Southern rock and blues.
You know what? Because a lot of people, I gotta tell you, a lot of bands fall short, especially artists who are really focused on blues rock. Half of them have either incredible vocals or like pretty okay vocals. Marcus King, how does he have incredible guitar skills and those vocals? It's like unfair. It's the soul in him. Man.
Oh my God. The high notes that he hits, they're just, the falsetto is, dare I use the word gorgeous?
Yep. He's onto something. He knows something that no one else knows right now. I don't know what it is, but he knows.
Well, following up Marcus King, I'm going to lean into that soul we're talking about here then. I think I know exactly what I'm going to follow this up with. And this is a group I saw open for AC/DC.
Now, I know who it is. Is it Ghost Towns?
Well, Ghost Town is in my bank of songs, but it's not the one I'm talking about right here. While Ghost Town did open for AC/DC, so did Vintage Trouble in 2016.
Oh.
And from 2015's One Hopeful Road, which was released on Blue Note Records, which should speak volumes right there because I don't know how many uniconic Blue Note albums there are. I'm going to go with a song called Run Like the River. Ty Taylor is a insane vocalist that commands the stage in almost a Mick Jagger fashion. And then you've got Nally Colt's slide guitar over this gospel stomp of a tune. And it's incredible. I don't know. It was interesting seeing them open for AC/DC because there was so much soul in their music. To me, it would have been more likened to be on stage opening for the Rolling Stones. But obviously AC/DC saw something in them and they're incredible. Ty Taylor is just got vocals. And when I heard Marcus King, I'm like, coming out of that, I feel like these two go back to back really well together. So Vintage Trouble's Run Like the River.
Dude, is that him with the hops?
Yes.
Holy.
Like he doesn't mess around. Like he has got this David Lee Roth, Mick Jagger, but, and this was on a stadium stage. We were at MetLife Stadium and he is literally 100 yards away from me on this little screen. I see this tiny little band off in the distance, but he is doing so much that people's jaws were on the ground in the upper level. And if you can command a stadium opening for one of the biggest hard rock bands maybe of all time with a completely different style of music, it speaks volumes to me. And I'll never forget hearing them do Run Like the River that night. It blew my mind.
Hey, I'm going to check them out. I can't believe I've never heard of them. And they open for AC/DC, I haven't heard of them. That's crazy. Well, I mean, like with that, again, just like getting that gritty, that Southern grittiness kind of in there. Southern grittiness and soul. Next one I'm going to do is Ghost Towns, is going to be Last Train to Nowhere. That's their new song. I got to see these guys at the Gibson Garage event. They're signed Gibson artists, and the lead singer, I'm blanking on his name right now, but he has total demanding attention from the audience. He is a fantastic singer and performer. And yeah, seeing them live is great too. But it's really about him. He's commanding with the way that he sings and performs. And I think they just got placed in a movie or something. That song got placed somewhere. Can't remember where. But other Gibson artists, they're cool.
Well, I had that song and Between Me and the Devil on my list with a little note underneath it that said, depending on where the playlist is going, choose between the two.
Yeah.
So that made my life easier and harder because I got to check off one that I wasn't expecting. But following that up, you mentioned him at the beginning, and I feel like you can't have a modern blues rock playlist and not talk about Joe Bonamassa in some facet. And back in 2003, when he dropped the album Blues Deluxe, I convinced my now wife and a couple of my buddies to come with me to the Mexicali Blues Cafe in Teaneck, New Jersey. And we saw him in a room with maybe less than 100 people. And he hung out with us after the show, signing CDs, just talking music. A year later, I saw him open for Kenny Wayne Shepherd and B.B. King in Atlantic City. And I said to him that night, because he was just hanging out at his booth again, he was doing the grind at this point. I said, you realize you're going to be playing arenas one day. And he said, well, that's the dream. And here we are 20 years later, and he is doing all that. I can't wrap my mind around the output that he is always putting out albums, live albums. The touring seems nonstop. He is just a workaholic, and he's an incredible songwriter. But the song I'm going to go with is actually a cover, because when Joe Bonamassa does covers, some of them are covers that you would say, I see that being a blues song. And then every now and then he pulls a cover out of left field. Like in 2007, he took Slow Gin by Tim Curry. And yes, I'm talking about that Tim Curry, the actor, and turned it into a blues rock song. But the one that I'm going to go with is off of his 2011 album, Dust Bowl. And I kid you not, it's a Barbra Streisand cover that closes out the album.
Done.
Prisoner, the love theme from The Eyes of Laura Mars. And one might think to themselves, how do you take Barbra Streisand and translate that to blues rock? Joe did it. And this song has such a gorgeous tone to it. It's very emotive. It's delicate and soaring. And Joe doesn't overplay this song. He plays to the strength of the song. There is some pyrotechnics in it, but it's done so tastefully that it makes the song more powerful. And what I love about covers is when you take a song that people know and you put a spin on it to the point where you can listen to the original and your version back to back and feel like you're getting two different experiences. And that's what I get from Prisoner.
Oh, hell yeah. I remember listening to that Dust Bowl record a couple times. There were a couple songs that stood out. I just can't remember the titles to them, but maybe it was one of those. But I love it when people who've got the chops to just go anywhere with a song choose to really branch out. Like Barbra Streisand, that's cool. I'll have to listen to that for sure.
Yeah, that one is definitely one that might raise eyebrows to the Joe Bonamassa fans listening, but hearing it coming out of Last Train to Nowhere, I feel like it's a really nice transition. So I'm thinking of this also strategically because I want people to listen to our mixtape and be like, dude, you guys just nailed this.
Now, tell you what, is that like more of a slow song or is that like a...
Definitely slower, emotive, very emotional tune.
Yeah, okay. Then I'm going to go with my girl, Susan Tedeschi. See the Tedeschi trucks. What would I choose? Man, I've seen her a couple times, but like last time I saw her, she was doing the John Prine tribute thing at the Ryman, and she did Angel from Montgomery, and I sobbed.
Her version of that song is just, it's unreal. It's on another level.
And she's so funny. She gets out on stage and she's like oh, hold on, my guitar's a little out of tune, I'm just pretending that she's not just about to like destroy us, she's so cute. She is so funny. She's so cute. She's like, oh, hold on. Oh, yeah. She's huge hero of mine. Let's see. Let's do Midnight in Harlem. It's my favorite. Whatever. Sue me.
Great tune. I mean, come on, let's be honest. You could pick a Susan Tedeschi solo album. You can pick a Tedeschi Trucks album. You can't go wrong with any of them at all. Period. Hard stop.
No, sue me.
They're all great.
Yep.
So I love that one, which was on Tedeschi Trucks Band's Revelator. And then you were talking about that version of Angel in Montgomery that she does. And man, that is just, damn, that's the only word I could use.
Imagine seeing that live at a John Prine tribute thing.
Spine tingling is is that the right word to use?
Yeah, I was crying. I was there with a date and I didn't care. I was just crying.
Hey, look, there are moments in concerts. I'll be the first one to admit, grown man, I have no problem admitting this to anybody I met. My father and I went to the Levon Helm tribute concert that took place at the now gone Izod Center in New Jersey. It is out on Blu-ray. Grace Potter came out with Don Was on bass and a drummer and did the most beautiful version of I Shall Be Released I ever heard. Where the end of it, she hits the high note and then her voice chokes because she's actually crying as she sings the last line. The hair on my arm is standing up as I'm just telling you this story. My father looked at me and said, look, I've seen Jimi Hendrix play. I've never seen anything like that in my entire life. People were still talking about her performance 4 songs later. And those moments, I will fully admit, every time I listen to that version, if it comes on in the car, I'm like, okay, I got to switch the song because I got to be able to see through the welling in my ear because it's just so powerful. And it's such a, when you get it engulfed in those concert moments, they're on another level.
It's the best because you get to escape reality for a little bit. Everyone wants to escape reality for a little bit. That's what we're doing. That's why live music's never going to die, man. I don't care how perfect you want. I don't care if you're one of those guys who wants to play to tracks. You're never going to get rid of live musicians playing together in real time. In the same room, you're never going to get that experience anywhere else,
100%. And coming out of Midnight in Harlem for my last pick, I think I am going to go with a little bit of a slower one here. But it's a song that to me is, again, it's just beautiful. And coming out of Susan Tedeschi, I want to continue with the female vibe we got going here. And I'm going to go with Anna Popovic with Robin Ford and Slow Dance, which to me, it's a song that as soon as you hear the opening riff, within a second and a half, you're hooked and you're brought in. And it's just stunningly beautiful. It's poetic. It's powerful. It's got this old school R&B and blues flavor. And then if you want to compare it to something modern, I would say in vibe only, it has a touch of John Mayer's Gravity. Mm-hmm. So it's one of those mellow nighttime driving tunes where you're headed home, it's late, you just had an amazing experience and you're kind of unwinding. This is that mellow vibe. So Anna Popovic's Slow Dance.
Yeah. Ooh, I dig. I'll dig it all right. Huh. Let's see.
The last song of the night. You got to take us home from the whole night.
Man, that's one. Shoot. You know what? I wonder if this will work. I think I'm going to do this because these guys are my friends and they are killer. Because I started this podcast talking about how there's a scene going on in blues rock in Nashville. So I'm going to do a shout out to my friends. In Ace Monroe, we're going to do Bad News. And actually, it looks like they got put on the modern blues rock playlist as well. I know I've got my song Renegade Season up on that Spotify playlist, but it's really cool to see their name up there too. So why not end the playlist with the new blues rock energy that's happening around Nashville and the new artists taking over on the scene? I think that might be cool. Check it out and see if it works with the vibe. If not, you can talk to
Oh,
me.
hell yeah, it works
Make
with
an
the vibe. Are you kidding
executive
me?
decision. Yeah, make an executive decision. But I'm gonna give my buddies a shout out there because really cool stuff happening in Nashville with some rock bands are really killing it. They're awesome. Yeah.
And look, it's a perfect bookend to somebody else who's been killing it, yourself, because side B of our ultimate modern blues rock playlist kicked off with Jax's Wolf and Sheepskin, then was followed up with Dirty Honey's Coming Home, Ballad of a Shire, Kenny Wayne Shepherd's Baby Got Gone, Marcus King's The Well, Vintage Trouble's Run Like the River, Ghost Town's Last Train to Nowhere, Joe Bonamassa's Prisoner, Susan Tedeschi's Midnight in Harlem, Anna Popovic with Robin Ford's Slow Dance, and Ace Monroe's Bad News. Head over to myweeklymixtape.com to hear all the songs we've discussed in this mix through the playlist embedded on the episode page. Now, Jax, next month, you'll be taking your music out to sea. Why don't you tell listeners a little bit about the Rock Legends cruise that you're participating in? I know we mentioned it briefly before, but...
Good thing, man. Talk about crazy opportunities. Again, this one just sort of fell in our laps, and there was a call out for the Rock Legends cruise, and we're so lucky to be on that bill. We're the Jax Hollow is like right at the bottom, but it's on the lineup with Sammy Hagar and Billy Gibbons and Rick Springfield and like Canned Heat, like we were talking about before, Jefferson Airplane, Starship, and yeah, I mean that's crazy. Oh, that's happening in February, and as soon as I found out, I called up my mom, and she was like, "Oh my God, I'm gonna book, I'm gonna get on the cruise ship," and she's like, "It's sold out." I'm like, I think those kinds of things sell out in advance because I think they are like a yearly thing, and so yeah, just overwhelmed and totally honored to be on that bill. That's the reality of it. I don't know. I mean, I've got my trio. I've got Michael Lupo on drums and Taylor Tuke on bass, and these are my guys, and they're based out of Nashville around, and they're killer musicians, and I'm really lucky that I have them on my team, and we're gonna give it all we fucking got to give. Don't worry, we're not holding back. But yeah, we are very humbled and excited, but also we're gonna go in there guns a-blazing. Like, come on.
That is awesome. So I got to ask, you mentioned all the groups, Sammy Hagar, Bret Michaels of Poison, you had Jeff Tate of Queensryche.
Yeah.
Is there anyone you're kind of looking forward to seeing throughout the week too?
Dude, if I don't hang out with Billy Gibbons on that ship, I will never forgive myself. Yeah. I'm be like, I'm gonna just stand next to him and be like, "Hey, how's it going? You going to Lido? You going to, go get some food? You want some company?"
Yeah, you got to get him on the next album.
I just want to hang out with that motherfucker. He's badass. Yeah.
Absolutely. I got to get paid from La Futura in my bank of songs for tonight. Maybe we'll have to use it on volume 2. But Jax, looking into the proverbial crystal ball, after the cruise, after you back on land and you get your sea legs and you're all taken care of there, what does the rest of 2024 have in store for you in terms of touring and maybe a follow-up to Only the Wild Ones?
Dude, I have been writing my ass off. I've got so much. I'm sitting on a lot of good stuff, man. If I do say so myself, I am just looking for the right producer. I haven't put haven't sent any like ships out to sail to try to like find the right guy yet, but I've got my ears and eyes open, and we've got a spring European tour that's already like almost all booked up. So we've got some great stuff in the works, and I've got a fantastic team, and I'm just really thankful and just kind of honestly really, really excited for the new year. And I want to get on a studio, man. I want to get back to the studio and record some stuff. It's never that easy, man. It's never that easy. You gotta it's still an independent artist. I still have to figure out how to do that and eat and breathe, mostly eat, figure that out.
Jax, this has been an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much for joining me on My Weekly Mixtape.
Hey man, thank you so much for having me.
And remember, you can find My Weekly Mixtape on almost all the social media haunts at My Weekly Mixtape. You can also head to myweeklymixtape.com to check out the full catalog of My Weekly Mixtape episodes. And finally, if you like what you're hearing on the show, you can help me out by either telling a friend, leaving the show a 5-star review wherever you're tuning in, or becoming a Patreon mixtaper at patreon.com/My Weekly Mixtape. That's all for this week. Thanks again for listening, and until next time, enjoy the tunes.